Out in the deepest darkness ever reached by a human machine, something strange has happened. Not impossible. Not supernatural. But strange enough to force scientists to look twice. Because far beyond the planets, beyond the edge of the sun's influence, a spacecraft launched nearly half a century ago is still talking to us. That spacecraft is Voyager 1. Milky Way, the loneliest machine ever built, 7 launched in 1977. Voyager 1 was never meant to last this long. It was designed to explore Jupiter, Saturn, and then drift into silence. But it didn't stop. It kept going. Past the outer planets. Past the Kuiper belt. Past the very edge of the sun's protective bubble. In 2012, Voyager 1 crossed a boundary known as the heliopause. That moment mattered. Because beyond that point, Voyager wasn't just in deep space. It was in interstellar space. A region we had never directly explored before. Satellite dish signals from the edge of silence 6 today. Voyager 1 is over 20 billion kilometers away. Its signals take more than 22 hours to reach Earth. And by the time they arrive, they are incredibly weak. So weak that detecting them requires the massive antennas of NASA's Deep Space Network. Every transmission is fragile. Every bit of data is precious. And sometimes, that data behaves in ways no one expects. Warning the signal anomaly. In recent years, engineers noticed something unusual. Voyager 1 began sending back telemetry that didn't quite make sense. The spacecraft was still functioning. Still responding to commands. But parts of its data stream appeared inconsistent. Numbers that didn't match expected values. Readings that didn't align with physical reality. At first, it looked like a malfunction. Which wouldn't be surprising. After all, Voyager 1 is running on 1970s hardware. But the situation was more subtle than simple failure. Brain not broken, but confused engineers discovered that the issue wasn't total system failure. Instead, it was tied to a specific onboard computer system. The spacecraft was operating normally but reporting data incorrectly, almost like a machine that's still alive, but struggling to describe what it's doing. And that created a mystery. Not a dramatic one. But a real one, magnifying glass. The reality behind strange patterns. Now here's where things often get exaggerated online. Some claims suggest hidden structures in images, artificial patterns in signals, external interference, but in reality, there is no confirmed evidence of anything like that. No verified quantum AI detection. No structured geometric anomaly. No external presence interacting with Voyager. What we are seeing is something far more grounded, and in its own way, just as fascinating. Gear aging technology at the edge of space. Voyager 1 is operating under extreme conditions. Temperatures near absolute zero, constant exposure to cosmic radiation, power levels slowly decreasing over time. This affects onboard systems. Memory bits can flip. Signals can degrade. Data can become distorted. Even a tiny error can create patterns that look meaningful. This is known as signal artifact behavior, where random noise begins to resemble structure. Not because something is there, but because our brains are wired to find patterns. Milky Way, the illusion of meaning in noise. 6 humans are extremely good at detecting patterns. Sometimes, too good. We see faces in clouds. Shapes in static. Order in randomness. This phenomenon is called pareidolia. And it doesn't just apply to images. It applies to data too. When signals become noisy or degraded, they can start to look structured. Even when they're not. Rocket. So what actually happened? Here's the real, evidence-based explanation. Voyager 1 experienced A fault in its telemetry system, data misreporting due to aging hardware, signal distortion caused by extreme distance. Engineers responded. They diagnosed the issue. And remarkably, they were able to fix it. From over 20 billion kilometers away. Bullseye. Why this still matters even without exaggeration, this story is incredible. Because Voyager 1 is doing something no machine was ever expected to do. It's surviving. Operate. Milky Way. Could anything be out there? 7. For a long time, we imagined interstellar space as pure emptiness. A perfect vacuum. A silent, endless void. But that picture isn't entirely true. Beyond the heliopause, Voyager 1 entered something known as the interstellar medium. And this region is not empty. It contains thin gas, mostly hydrogen, charged particles, magnetic fields stretching across light years, high-energy cosmic radiation. It's incredibly sparse, but it's not nothing. And that matters. Because even the smallest interactions can affect a spacecraft traveling through it. High voltage when space pushes back. 7. Voyager 1 isn't just drifting. It's moving through a dynamic environment. And sometimes, that environment pushes back. Scientists have already detected plasma waves beyond the heliopause, changes in magnetic field direction, sudden increases in particle density. These aren't dramatic events. But they are real interactions. And over time, they can influence instrument signals, even onboard electronic satellite dish. When signals start acting strange. Now think about this. A signal leaving Voyager 1 travels for over 20 hours through space. Across billions of kilometers. Through regions filled with radiation-charged particles, magnetic disturbances. By the time it reaches Earth, it's incredibly fragile. So even a small disturbance can distort the signal, shift frequencies, introduce noise, and sometimes, that noise can look structured. Brain why patterns appear. This is where things often get misunderstood. When signals degrade, they don't always become random in a messy way. Sometimes, they become strangely ordered. Repeating shapes. Symmetrical distortions. Rhythmic interference. Not because something is controlling them, but because of how physics and signal processing interact. Even natural systems can create wave interference patterns, harmonic repetition, mathematical-looking structures which can easily be mistaken for something intentional. Magnifying glass. The role of AI in analysis. 7. Modern systems, including AI, are used to analyze space data. But here's the key point. AI doesn't discover truth. It detects patterns. And sometimes, it detects patterns too well. It can highlight correlations that aren't meaningful, structures formed by noise, coincidences that look intentional, which is why every AI finding must be verified by scientists. Carefully. Slowly. Skeptically. Warning the danger of overinterpretation. This is where many viral stories go wrong. They take a real anomaly, a real dataset, a real spacecraft, and then jump to something is out there. But science doesn't work like that. It moves step by step. First, detect, then verify, then test, then question again. And right now, there is no confirmed evidence that Voyager 1 has encountered anything artificial or unknown in that sense. Shooting star. So is there anything out there at all? That question is still open. Not in a dramatic, science fiction way, but in a scientific one. Projects like SETI Institute are actively searching for signals from intelligent life. But they use radio telescopes, controlled detection methods, repeatable verification, not single anomalies from distant probes. Because extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Rocket. What Voyager can, and cannot, detect. 6. Voyager 1 is an incredible machine. But it has limits. It was not designed to Capture high-resolution images in interstellar space, detect complex structures, identify artificial objects its instruments focus on. Particles, magnetic fields, plasma waves, so if something complex existed out there, Voyager wouldn't see it clearly. At best, it might detect indirect effects. Subtle changes. Not clear evidence. Milky Way, the real frontier, and that brings us to the truth. Interstellar space is still one of the least explored regions in science. We've only sent a few probes beyond the solar system. And only one, Voyager 1, has gone this far while still communicating. Which means, we are just beginning. Bullseye, the real meaning of this story. This isn't a story about contact. It's a story about limits. The limits of technology.